and change, we will call this meeting to order. First order on our agenda is to acknowledge public in attendance and amend the agenda as required. We will look to amend the agenda, and that is to add the hometown heroes representatives, Dee Coletti and Shirley Adams. I would like to add them at 7:15, if that is okay with Norm, to put them. Good, Norm got the thumbs up from Norm. We will need Norm's input on this as well.
Excuse me, Karen is on her way.
Thank you. Okay. We do have a quorum as it is, but we will have the full board here in moments. Also here in attendance is resident Rob Novak. We have Chris Damon, our ZA, and Kim Hall, co-chair of the planning committee and writer extraordinaire. So add that. Just to start the meeting, a couple of thanks. I'd like to thank publicly Dana Rosicki for helping me get the SAM registration redone. He's quite an expert at that, and he walked me through a couple of things that needed to be edited, and we've got that. That's important because you cannot get a federal grant without it. The other thing, thanks go to Dana and to Samantha Page of BCRC. They helped get a grant application in for the sidewalk on Main Street. This is following up on the scoping study that was done in 2014 that ended in a suggestion that the village follow up on a design and construction grant, which 10 years later we have done. So thanks to them, that's done.
So the grant, the application is in there, we received the grant?
No, the application is in. I don't know when.
No, that's
hear
progress.
that. I'm just gonna cross my fingers. We'll cover at least 2 grants when we get to Norm.
Okay,
So that said, let us, good, here is Miss Tara. So everyone is here now. We have the first order of business is to review and approve the minutes of June. Everyone should have those minutes. I don't think I made you a copy.
I didn't
on
see
the
that, no.
website. If you want a copy, I'll give you this one.
oh, you didn't either?
They're on the website,
Oh, okay.
and everybody had a copy when they were done. So
Yeah.
I would assume you have all read these when they were drafted and sent to you for your information.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Name is here.
Do we have a motion to accept those minutes
So moved.
from Matthew
A second.
and seconded by Ray? I'll ask once while Scott is reading whether there are any questions. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 That being unanimous. Second order of business quickly is reviewing and approving the warrants and payments of bills. Doug is not here on a well-deserved vacation, but he sent them to us all anyway. You should all have them. In order, I'll read them in this order. The payroll warrant in the amount of $12,692.51.
So moved.
Second. Assuming no questions, I don't see Matthew, but I think he's here. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good, we have Matthew, so we have all of those. The second one is the late June warrant. That is in the amount of $114,705.64. The biggest items on there are Fuller Sand and Gravel for $82,000 and change. That is for the 3 roads that were paved. There is an MSK Engineering and Design, $7,500, $7,540. That is mostly for Hall Street, and then a part for the starting the study down on West and Water Street. And then there is concrete impression, $16,900. That was for the Bank Street paving. And everything else is also noted on the detail that Doug sent to us. So, motion to approve by Tara,
Second,
seconded by Scott.
I have a quick question.
Yes,
The 82,000, was this the price of only the materials, or was this for the labor also?
Fuller sand and gravel.
Fuller sand and gravel,
was 80.
No, that's everything, the whole thing,
so labor included,
yeah.
okay, good.
And
Well,
that was
not man's
probably
labor.
an 80, that was probably the total of both paving projects. The one we
Yeah.
jumped on because it was really
Yes.
time to do it.
Doug has
So-
listed 3 things.
Yeah.
Under that,
On the detail.
Overly, George and Frederick,
Yes, I believe that's what Doug.
Right.
George and Frederick were planned.
Yeah.
Overly was kind of, because they, again, on Bennington, and they had such a bid. It would have been insane not to pass it up.
yeah, no, I'm not complaining, I was just wondering if that was for
Yeah,
the materials, and then we also paid Bedoin.
no,
To do
there's no paving cost.
Gotcha, okay,
Well, I can cover my other thing, you will see a bill for Bedoin, but not for any of those 3.
okay,
Okay, so do we have a motion for that one? That was me. Oh, you
Yeah.
did make a motion. for
yeah,
this one as
and
well?
I seconded it.
Oh, yes, you did. Sorry, thank you. All in favor, assuming Matthew has no questions?
I,
Aye.
Okay, good, another unanimous. Then the last one is the July warrant. That is in the amount of $25,683.53. Nothing too huge. There is concrete impressions for 12,000.
and is that,
That might have been Bank Street as well. That is,
there,
yes, that's Bank Street. Yep, they were
Was the
both
rest of
Bank.
their bill. He sent 2 bills. Halfway through and then at the end.
Perfect. And then nothing else that is out of the ordinary, but again, everything is listed on Doug's detail. Questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Tara,
Second.
seconded by Matthew. Gentlemen, either of you have a question?
no,
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
So there we go. Okay, now that we have done that, we will sneak right into, and a pickup schedule. We will head right into, the hometown heroes. Here, I'll sign that at the end, but if you want to go sign these. Please, however you wish to come up or sit there or.
When we did this at Bennington, we had a PowerPoint, and I've got a couple of copies if people want to follow along, and we can.
Okay.
walk you through.
And you kindly sent that out, so all the trustees already have this, so those not attending can see this. Sir, who just walked in,
Yes, hi.
you are, so
Mark Rondo, Bennington Banner.
Bennington Banner, did you get that, Lori? Mark, Mark Rondo, how do you spell your name for Lori?
DEAU.
RONDEAU, Bennington Banner. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dee. This is Shirley.
Hi.
We represent Green Mountain Hometown Heroes. Newly formed, actually, we're still in the stages of forming our 501c3. We're a collaboration of the American Legion Riders, Post 13, and the VFW Riders, 1332. We're here to talk a little bit about our banner program. I do want to say that the town of Bennington has approved this program. We negotiated with them several times. We had several conversations. We have an application process. There's a fee for the banner. And each application has a background check done on it prior to it being approved by the town.
Now, you could choose to do that or not do that. Town of Bennington chose to do that.
Mhm.
So people are also able to purchase a banner and put it on their own private property. The town has no say in that, really.
Mhm.
But if you want your banner displayed, right now we're doing the Main Street north and south,
In Bennington, yes.
outside of whatever holds the, better thing.
Outside of mean down.
The right
Okay.
one, downtown. So the banners, this is a sample of what the banner looks like. They're 18 by 36. We expect to have 2 banners placed on each pole. We have 96 poles right now for our use. And we have, at my last count, 53 applications already. I don't know how detailed you want me to be about the application process. Do you have questions? Our program will run with the town for 3 years. At that point, we're able to go back to the town if it's a success. And we ask for another 2 to 3 years. We all have agreed, the town and our riders, to watch the banners. If they start to deteriorate, they will come down. The sponsor will be contacted to see if they want to replace it or if they just want the discarded banner.
Question, if you don't mind some interruptions while you're doing this. If a banner deteriorates at 2 years, that person still has 1 year left, right?
Not necessarily. We're gonna for the life of the banner. The
Okay,
company is telling us it should be 2 to 3 years.
okay, but you have a 3 year, the town has a 3 year program. Is that 3 years for each banner? Or is
No,
that
it's
3
kind
years
of-
for the 96 poles?
That's generic for our.
And it was just kind of an agreement that as long as everything went smoothly, there were no issues, they would probably review it. It was just kind of, their bylaws require they specify a time limit. So
Yeah.
3 years was just
Well-
kind of an arbitrary and.
So if a banner only lasts 2 years and we contact that sponsor, they don't want to replace their banner, next person in line.
Okay.
Their banner.
So not to dwell too much on this, but if the village here said, okay, we would mirror the same thing and would entertain a 3 year program, somebody coming in at 2 years and 11 months now suddenly has 3 more years.
Not necessarily.
No.
The 3 years is our agreement with the town of Bennington for an initial period to display banners.
Okay.
Not an individual banner, just banners in general.
Okay,
Yeah.
For the project.
okay,
You know, starting this, a proposed start date.
okay,
So you're correct, as like he said, so say, normal lights banner, right? And, you know, say, no, I can't afford it, they put up, you know, Mary Rogers' banner, well, it's only there for a year. Unless the thing
Okay.
is grandfathered, right? Yes, it's
I
not,
mean, we would.
nobody can come in at the last minute and then keep extending it. That's
We
not-
would intend to leave them up as long as they look serviceable. I mean, I don't think you all want tattered or faded.
no.
No, you know, we want them to look nice to honor the veterans.
I don't want to interrupt and nor do I want to ask all the questions, so.
So I have one question. I'm staring at this banner and it says Ridgeway on the top. Why does it say that?
It's just a sample.
This is a sample, that's the town
Okay.
where this particular person lives. And,
Ridgeway is the town?
Yeah.
Okay.
And truthfully, we haven't finalized the information that'll go on the banners yet. We've actually been talking back and forth about where or how we would put the town. Because again, if we do North Bennington and we do Bennington, so do we just, you know, where,
they say Green Mountain, hometown Harris
Yeah.
on it, or just hometown Harris. We have a meeting tomorrow night to go over that. That type of
this
information.
is more of a general sample that won't look exactly like this, but it'll be very similar.
The photos will look like this, a lot of them, we have a lot of them already. Some of them beautiful.
So another question, you said the town of Bennington is going to vet these, and what's the vetting consist of?
They were
That they're going to
concerned about putting up a banner with somebody who may be offensive to the community. And they had a particular person in mind who I'm not gonna mention, but if I did, you'd all go, oh yeah, I understand. So they wanted to look at all the applications and have kind of a final thumbs up, thumbs down on any particular person.
That is a good question. Like, people are doing this for living and deceased. For the living people that may have like felony records, is that something you guys?
The way,
Well, that's why
the
we
way
can do the
Bennington
background.
dealt with it is they said they may, the wording is,
This is what it says, all decisions regarding banners to be located within the town right of way shall be made at the town's sole discretion. Those who are disapproved may appeal to the town manager, whose decision shall be final. The Green Mountain Hometown Heroes organization bears no responsibility in the town decision.
So I'll use this for an example. Lee Harvey Oswald, okay, was a Marine. So if this is happening in small town Texas, he may have a relative there, they want to put their great uncle there. And the town has a chance to say, you know what, he was a veteran, but we're not gonna have Lee Harvey Oswald on the side of our thing.
he's going to.
So that's, I'm just using that as an example, is that how we look, there is a denial, there is an appeal process, if you feel you run on treated fairly. So that's kind of what it is, you know.
Okay. But you guys, do you guys do any background stuff? It all falls to the.
The town.
The town, that we negotiated that with the town, that was at their request.
Okay.
And a felony doesn't necessarily disallow them. And the way the wording is that we may reject you, given that. It's not a we shall reject you. Yeah.
Are there other conditions that they take into account?
That you're a resident, or have some connection to Bennington. So, yeah. In fact, we had one, questioned application already. The person is, from Pownell. So we're kind of still talking to Stuart about that person. So they're requiring residency, or maybe you entered military service from Bennington.
Mhm.
And they did define what hometown.
Yeah, what is that?
That's in the application also.
Yeah, and you all have a copy of that application.
So hometown is defined as the town or city where a person was born or grew up, lives in, and with which they are associated. And also, if the person is living, that living person must sign the application, or the application will be rejected and returned to them.
Okay. 'cause
Bennington had
wants to
concern about
raise-
displaying an image of a living person without their consent.
Yes, yeah,
That makes sense.
very justified. Shoot.
We're really excited about the program.
Did you mention the cost last time? I don't know if you're interested.
Yes, and it's in the document
Okay,
that you
yeah.
sent, so
Yeah.
that's in here.
So you mentioned, Mary was asking about, if someone didn't renew and then you just go down the list and move on to the next person. So you have 96 polls, you have 96, or let's say you have, 100 let's say you have 100 applications, so 4 people can't get on those polls. And the others that are already on the polls can have it in perpetuity until they stop paying, no, until they stop paying, because you'll offer it to renew for them again. Until they
Well,
don't.
it
There's a
really dependent
renewal
on the
program.
serviceability of the banner. It's kind of like 2 to 3 years, because that's what we expect
Yeah,
the banner to be, yeah.
but I'm
And they
saying
could
like,
renew,
the
yeah.
other people that didn't get on that are on a wait list.
We have had conversations, not real in-depth conversations yet, about expanding out to other streets. As long as they're not town maintained or state maintained,
State
state maintained roads, sorry.
Yeah.
We can't put any banners in state maintained roads.
So Norm, I think we would look to Norm if we were entertaining this to figure out which polls, how many. 96 around here would be
A lot.
overwhelming,
Yeah,
any more than maybe a dozen might be overwhelming.
and again, if you're gonna limit it residents, kind of a hometown definition.
Yeah,
You know, you may not want people from Shasbury, maybe you do, you know. it's your-
You know, I completely support it, right?
Yes.
You know, you know, the amount of numbers, I think, you know, I would rather see, personally, you know, a banner on a local street. You know, I wanna see Main Street, because people come through, so we put out the flags, you know, we're proud of the community, we're proud of the heritage. And we have flags on the building for, you know, for holidays, you know, so, you know, I would put my, I would scatter them everywhere. This is a no cost to us, program. I like the way it is, you have to have some sort of connection here.
yeah,
Again, it could be somebody who's maybe lost a child, but the parents have lived here in North Bennington, and that's what they wanna see. You know, it's somebody who has supported our country. When I went overseas, I went overseas for Vermont, for Maine, for California, for Puerto Rico. I fought for everybody, right? So that's kind of where I sit. You know, we'll have to see how the banners last, right? We have flags. We pay an absorbent amount of money for flags. We get 2 years out of them, and then we have to replace them. Those things, they'll have a shelf life.
Yeah.
You'll work through it and figure it out. You know, I see it the other way is no banner unturned. If they have 200 applicants, we need to find 200 votes. That's my, that's.
Once we start the application process, we can kind of keep you apprised of the number of applications we're getting, and if it seems overwhelming, you know, you kind of say, you know, back off a little bit, or tell people that, you know, there's a waiting time or something, yeah.
So we would request an initial
Yeah,
number of polls.
Yeah.
Because we can put on most polls 2 banners,
or you can do one, depending on,
right, depending on how many you have.
is it like this, or is it like this?
It would be
both sides. I think
this
is the way we answer.
street way, right? So
Yeah.
if the street's going to pay.
Yeah.
Banners or something.
They don't deny, some places hang one above the other.
They run parallel to the road? Yes. Or perpendicular?
I think they're perpendicular, the ones I've
Because
seen.
the singles are perpendicular, but if you're on both sides of the pole, then you extend
There's
it,
usually one on the roadside, one on the side.
and they don't interfere with like the trucks and anything.
No. They're made for that, and, you know, just space, where they're bought, or they're gonna bother us for sidewalks and stuff like that.
And so, with this project, Green Mountain Power is involved. And Stu is dealing with Green Mountain Power because the town will be placing the banners, not our organization.
So for us, Norm would have to do that, yes?
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
Green Mountain Power owns the poles, and they just usually want a letter from the village or the town saying that they approve of the program.
I wanna just give, we have a member of the audience that I believe would like to say something. I would like to give Robert some time, but first I would like to just see if, to get all the trustees. Matthew, do you have a question, comment, or concern? You're off, you're muted, but I see you shaking your head. Wait, why don't you get,
Nope, I'm fine.
okay. Lori, do you have any thought? I always like your opinion as well.
No, I think this is a great program. I just, when someone said, well, we won't stop applications or we'll just keep hanging them. I see this overwhelming
Yeah.
idea of banners, and I think maybe you know, maybe we could figure that out, but it's kind of like signs. I don't want it to take away from the individual person. So if you have too many,
Yeah.
Or it could be a shared kind of thing, you know, up in, you know, these, if you have way too many, perhaps then you share the time that they're up.
There you go. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, well, I'll let Robert go first.
Are you sure? Okay. Robert, floor is yours.
Things to say, when I first saw this in Rensselaer, and I saw it recently in Cambridge, I said to myself, among other things, I hope this never happens in this lovely village. For a number of reasons. I mean, you come to Vermont from New York, we have laws that restrict signage, which makes coming into Vermont so nice. Because you see no billboards, signs like that, this, I think, is going against that. And other reasons too. First of all, I think it's unnecessary. I think it's hype from my standpoint. And I think it's discriminatory. I think it's unnecessary because we have days and we have places to honor the veterans, ones who died. So I think it's necessary. I think the word hero is overused and abused. I think of my brother, who was a veteran, maybe he would laugh at the idea of hero. I'm reminded of an interview with Ken Burns when he was interviewing somebody in his World War II documentary who was a veteran of the Pacific campaign. He said, "Are you a hero?" He said, "No, we're not a hero. We're not, because we were just doing a job." I worked with the military when I was abroad. Worked on a big project under the office of the Air Force. I worked with the Courtney Boy and the Colonel Fox. And I think that I have great respect for them. I think, again, if you call them heroes, I think they're just scared you into disbelief. I mean, I don't think heroes are few and far between. Few and far between. So, and I think there's a question of service. There seems to be a question of people serving our country. There are many people who serve our country. And I'm thinking of you up here. You serve our country. And other people serve, priests serve our countries, police serve our country. And to give this kind of recognition, which I'm not for anyway, to a certain part of veterans, I think that's discriminatory. There are other people who serve, and they serve just as well, and they're just as important. So I think it's a terrible idea. I don't want to walk out of my room, and see something flat there for 3 years. I just don't want to do it. That's it. I mean, people serve, they serve for a lot of reasons. People go to the military for a lot of reasons. They go in because they want to retire after 20 years. They go in until they're in the trade. It's also a fact that when the unemployment rate rises, the enlistment rate rises. So it's not that everybody who goes to the military goes into, quote, serve our country, unquote. So I'm questioning the whole program. I'm questioning myself. And as you up here, which I think, you know, I respect you and what you do, you're part of the people who serve our country. You have to say, does this benefit our town? Does this benefit North Bennington? I think not. Does it enhance our town in any way? I think not. In fact, I think exactly the opposite. I think it would be a detriment to this town.
I would like to say thank you for coming and voicing your comments. I think we as a society do ourselves a great disservice if we don't actively listen to everyone, whether we agree with them or not. So you are now speaking for a bunch of people. I'm sure there are more than just you who maybe have similar thoughts or qualms about this program. I have some reservations myself, but personally, I think there is a public good to be had by honoring or recognizing, maybe not even honoring, but recognizing people. Yes, our teachers are just as much heroes to parents and children. If you spend a lot of time in hospitals lately, oh my gosh, you don't find a bigger hero than a nurse when you're in need.
Nurses.
So to that point, yes, do we just say, well, this is nurses' day, this is nurses' year, and this is that year? And probably not, but it is a program that I think with all the downsides of as Norm would say, litter on a stick. I wouldn't consider this in that category. But there are things I think that we can do to not have signage on every pole. To me, that would be too much. To have every single pole taken up even by one would be too much. Then again, I think in North Bennington, with our 1,700 people, how many are we likely to have?
There are only 35,000 veterans in the whole of the state.
Okay,
In the
So,
whole of the
yeah.
state, there are only
Yeah.
35,000
Yeah.
veterans.
so the fact that, Lori had some good thoughts that she had brought up, I think things can be worked through there. I do have a number of questions still in my mind. I think the detail, we would need to maybe see what that, and I have seen the document that Bennington has. I don't remember where I saw it, so I don't know if that's been sent to all the trustees. The agreement with the town of
I
Bennington.
think it's part of the application.
It's okay.
It's one of the pages in the
Okay.
application that states.
Okay.
The definitions are at the end of
Okay,
your
all
paper.
right. So,
Could I just say one
Yes.
thing before too much time passes? And I respect everything you say. But I also tell you that there are a lot of veterans who feel just the way you described, but there are probably just as many who would like a little recognition, particularly the Vietnam era veterans who were treated very dishonorably when they returned. I myself am a retired veteran, 22 years. I have no desire to have my face on a pole, Teresa. But
may I ask,
I-
I am so sorry to interrupt, but our rules of procedure is that everything is addressed to the body and not to an individual. I'll get right back to you. Are you done?
I'm done.
Then let me recognize Robert again.
Yeah, I understand that, and I thought of that myself, Vietnam veterans. And there are a lot of reasons, I think, that they're justly neglected. But I don't think this is the answer. I think, I have another, I think there are other ways that can this be done, this can be done much more effectively, but not so obtrusively. I mean, I just
Okay.
believe that, not only with the days given, but we have areas in the town which are already dedicated to veterans, what I call Jennings Park. And so again, I think the hanging things for 3 years, I think is just gonzo. I mean.
Okay, what if it was something like Military Appreciation Month, which is May?
I think that if it's done like when we put the flags up, for Memorial Day, that's fine. I put my flags up to my little flags.
Okay.
I
I'm just
noticed
asking
that
about
when
your region.
yes, I mean, it's just, I go to these other towns and I say, what is this? And what's the reason? And why are they given favor and privilege over other people? I don't understand that.
I do, just from your point and your point, I do wonder if that opens up a doorway, I guess, for people, another organization like yourselves to come in and say, we're the first responders nonprofit that wants to put up pictures of first responders in the village. And then, the next people who come along, and then we have Vermont being New York again.
Well, I could also share that in New York, I've seen that it's not always military heroes. I have seen teachers or particular public servants. It's a rare thing, but I have seen it. It's not our intent to do that because we're representing veteran organization, but that's always an option.
So I don't really want to cut good deliberation and discussion too short, however, because I did not properly get you on the agenda. I would like to suggest that maybe if trustees wish, we could deliberate that later, or perhaps a couple of you wish to form a little subcommittee and talk to the town of Bennington and the group and Norm and get together and figure out what would be a good proposal, if any, for the village. So,
Can I ask one quick question?
yes,
Are they gonna be red, white, and blue, or are we doing like a Vermont theme?
They'll be red, white, and blue of some variety. Like I said, this is really just a sample. We haven't actually selected the final pattern, but it will be similar to this in color. If
Okay.
they were to provide. a
Because like the
color
Cambridge ones have like a green theme and.
no,
Just
there
curious.
is something similar to this. I think we'll look at the ones in Cambridge. I don't think I've seen.
Last call before we move on, is there any other comments or?
Well, I had a comment about, or a
Yes.
question, because heroes, in my mind, is something that's awarded for valor, particular valor, not just service or duty. And so that was my question about whether that was one of the criteria that would be used for accepting an application, as that there's,
Need not, it's just military service.
okay.
Honorable
And
discharge.
honorable service,
Right.
just as denoted by this job.
Designated as a town, correct?
Yes.
Perhaps last word, Robert.
I just want to say that if you do get together, and I can be with you too, I have some other options, I think would actually be more effective in my mind. For this thing, because I understand and I appreciate what the visitors are doing very much.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived through that era. And, so the Vietnam veterans, not only in Vietnam, but coming home.
Do any trustee have a thought for moving forward? Do we just table? Lori, I don't know if you know what would be appropriate and proper.
Well,
Hopefully
I think that it sounds like you need to have a bit more discussion before you make.
Yeah,
before
I
you
don't
go
think we're anywhere near a.
I don't either. So I think that you could just say that this discussion will continue on this.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So
That's what I'll-
discussion will continue, but I would like to see if a trustee or two are willing to subcommittee and discuss further with Norm, Robert, the group, whatever.
It occurred to me that one thing to do is to, if we could take some images of our streets and Photoshop these into place. To have what a landscape looks like with them.
Would
I
it,
don't know if we have any.
would it help if you saw another town's images, or do you want to see it superimposed on ours?
It would help to see another town's.
Okay, because
There are
I've
plenty
seen them
around.
in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Right.
You can.
Yeah.
And the pieces are fairly new. They've only been up
Yeah,
a few weeks, I believe.
So they look great, right?
Maybe I'm thinking of Greenwich or
Sure.
something.
okay. Well, we will just table this for now.
I think
Keep
it's
it open
that's-
that it would be great for somebody to get together and listen to suggestions and talk to Norm and figure out where we go with this, so.
Right.
I'll ask for volunteers at a later date. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I know this is your second time.
And that's all right.
So-
That's fine. It's been
Okay.
a slow start for us too. I'm
Okay,
glad you're considering it.
And I'd
Thank you.
also like to thank all the veterans in the room for their service.
And you too.
Thank you.
I was just gonna
Yes.
say that.
Yeah.
I love the sculptures. I come here every year and look at them, and I miss you brought my family when they come and visit, so.
there you go.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, Norm. A bit delayed, but you are up.
Okay, so, but we already discussed that, so we don't need to bring up that. So we're working on sidewalks on Main Street. We'll see that they have been, completely poured. We have fixed all the blacktop issues. We fixed the two driveways, that were promised years ago. And we're gonna see probably the last, big bill, from the blacktop we're doing. That we did all the driveways and fixed the entrance to Homestead View. Good thing for the residents of Homestead Views, the state is actually going to, investigate whether they can put a crosswalk there over to the store. Investigate, right, it's turning it into a parking lot is an issue. But, so, there's stock, at least they're gonna reopen that. discussion, so that might happen. We have the topsoil, right now, on the roadside mowing, we got some things that we gotta get done. You know, we will be back to that, our grass seed, for our hydro seeder arrived today. So really, we just got topsoil and how you see it grow. If you've been out there during a rainstorm, you can see that drainage working well, like from our pond, from the house, the other side, Crawford residence. Got rid of an ugly stump on the one side of the street. Like I said, and fix the school, so that went really well. Our project with the state, they're very happy, how it went, so again, I encourage you to take a walk out there and just walk around that, it's nice. We got open, so, you know, the public can use it,
Okay,
you know, now, so I just have to, topsoil, I would say my goal by the end of the month. Remember the last week of this month, I have to go to Louisville, Kentucky. for
Okay.
National Convention, we won
Okay.
another national award. So there's something down.
congratulations.
So, you know, we're there, right now, we're, roadside mowing, we're down in Henry Bridge Park, cleaning that all up, gotta pull some trees out. We had, our mower broke, we got the parts finally, we fixed it. We have a demo for a stump grinder, this is the last piece of all the treasure that we sold, that we were collecting, that we're gonna buy, so it's a pretty big thing. If it works as they intended, we won't be shipping it back, we'll be owning it.
Good.
And we've invited other local communities to come at the same
Yeah.
time. So we got that, now Mary wanted to talk about 2 grants, so I have received, I just took delivery of the pipe to go on Wellens Road, it's, I don't know, $5,000 or something like that.
Which grant are we doing? Because we just got the grant and aid one, the $6,000.
That's right, we haven't picked that here.
Okay,
The first grant is the one from, Agency of Transportation.
Okay.
It's the same, grant as we did the Overley Road culvert. You know, because the pipe's so
Okay.
big, it's nowhere near the Overley Road project. You know, it'll be very good, but we'll have that and that.
do you remember what we got for that?
Like 15 or 16 grand.
Was it? Okay, I'll have to go look that up.
It wasn't a crazy amount because it's a,
It's a.
you know, it's a dirt road,
Okay.
most of the material go
Okay.
out, and then go right back in.
Okay.
and done.
How large is the culvert?
It is 32 by 48.
That was in our notes from last.
So it wasn't a 48, it was a 40-inch, and then they squashed it.
Yeah.
So it comes down and then kind of goes out.
Right,
So we don't have to bury it as deep. It's 2 pieces with a band clamp in the middle. So this is, you know, we gotta spend a little time to get the road flat. So we will, you know, we're gonna break time. And obviously, we're gonna just close that road completely,
Mhm.
and just do it one shot. So we gotta talk to the Fish and Game people, just to make sure, because it is a boat launch, and, you know,
Mhm.
we'll probably make a sign like we did down the Overley Road and say, expect, you know, next week, this is it, because there's no other way around it except for swimming across the lake. So, you know, I would probably say in September-ish. And the only reason I would think that that's probably where I'll go is, one, we just got a couple things that we really gotta do with propane and other things. A little cooler, but school will be back in, and then if you have people wanting to go fish, we can talk to the Lake Parent side and say, hey, might be people, and we can at least, you know, we're a social media network, we can offer it to the people who wanna go on the other side. There's a handicap entrance, and if somebody, you know, wants to leave their boat there, maybe they can unload it on our side and dock it over there. And we can ask them if they wouldn't mind if they sign a permission slip or something, you know? So we can try to be as good as we can to the local enforcement. That's what else.
So,
There's no houses, so we don't have to live off fire trucks and things like that.
so the grant and aid, $6,000, the one that we just got, that's through 2025, that's the That's the hydraulically connected.
That's hydraulic.
Would that be Park Street? Or what would
Yeah,
you,
yeah, well,
or do you have something in mind?
that might be, no, we don't have anything.
Okay,
So that could be Park Street, it depends on, it's usually gotta have a river right next to it, it depends on how they go. Because though, that spot we were talking about,
Yeah.
that runs through the river,
yeah,
you know, so it depends on that map of
Okay.
how it looks and what color it is, but we have not.
well, we have through September of next year
Yes,
to do that one. And then the other one that we did not get was the one that we submitted for the drop inlets on Prospect and Mechanic.
Oh.
We did not get that grant.
but do a couple repairs and some infrastructure from, you know, private and public. You know, that problem has kind of disappeared.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll need it.
Yes, 100%. Before we ever do any major paving on Mechanic Street, that really should be considered how to run, you know, water one way or the other. I mean, it could be pitched and ran down North Street and then down, you know, but, you know, we have to think about it. It was easy to cheat right through the house. But, you know, we got, there's some other projects, like, Hall Street, Park Street, there's a couple things.
We thought about at some point, I don't know if it's still on for this summer, about getting a couple of trustees to meet with you and put that line where a curb might go on Church.
Sure, that's correct, yeah.
So is that possible to still do before the end of the summer or
Yeah,
before school starts?
I doubt before school,
Okay,
not for us.
okay,
I don't believe that would be, a humongous project if we were just putting the curb in.
yeah,
And that's what we talked about, curb, patch it back to the blacktop and just put dirt on the inside
Yeah.
and leave it for a year.
yeah, and then pave in a future.
Right, now, if we go to, like we did up by Mrs. Jones's house on Main Street, and we pour a sidewalk with a monolithic curb, which is a lot easier for us, you know, because our local guy can do it,
Mhm.
then we just put a curb right on the sidewalk, and that could happen.
That could happen, okay,
You know, but a curb, a grass strip, and a sidewalk. Those all things probably won't,
won't happen, okay.
but yeah, we could
We can see.
certainly take a walk down and deal with it.
And then you and Doug and I are gonna get together at some point next week and look at all the, detail all the expenses, look at the wish list of everything, so that we can figure out, next meeting is our setting the tax rate in August, that's our setting the tax rate meeting. So we really need to know exactly what we've done this year, what, if any, carryover is gonna be earmarked for a specific project, or what specific projects we may need to know, so we know what we need to raise money for. Any other questions for Norm?
I have a question.
Yes,
Okay, on the, Bank Street, back to the Bank Street project,
Yes.
Rich Jorgensen, sent a letter to the trustees about the parking for the variety store that encroaches on where the sidewalk. In other words, it's all one pavement
It is,
and some of the cars park where the pedestrians
yep,
should be able to walk.
that's one of the reasons.
Is there
we got
any-
that sidewalk right there, there's really no good fix for that, there's, you know, we'll always have parking there.
Uh-huh, yeah, we gotta have the
You
parking.
know, if we go up through and come out of our right of way, if we stay in our right of way, we come up through, we lose all parking. If we stay in our right of way, we lose it, because you put a 5 foot ADA sidewalk. There's not enough room, and nobody will not park. And,
Right.
You know, we can see it, we drive up Mechanic Street, there's signs, you know, they do have to be replaced, but there's no parking on that corner, and then there's cars parked all over the place. Right, and you know, we go down Pangea, we paint yellow and green, and they're yellow all over, no parking, and big park. So they still will, that's one of the reasons we left that. There is a wide grass strip, and we keep the garbage off of it, and the homeowner lets everybody walk. So it's kind of one of those small
So-
town,
So you're aware of all this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've looked at it.
yeah, there's not really a great answer
Solution.
there.
Okay, all
You
right.
can't make it any narrower. I mean, cause you're hitting the railroad tracks, you know, there's not a lot of room there.
Right,
So now you can't do anything 25 feet from the center line of the railroad track. So now you come back in, you're really paving from me to you. And then you're
gotcha.
stuck.
Yeah,
And then, not that you can't do it, because it's done right here, but it's an astronomical amount of money. And we
Really?
really need, you know, before we. And this is my opinion, Norman LeBlanc's opinion, before we add little sidewalk for those 3 spots, car cars. We could use one over on Church Street, we can fix the steps, that's one of those things on the bottom of school. Those steps won't be there in the fall, my sidewalk machine will not have to drive and go around and almost tip over, because now we have our own equipment, we can do that. We're gonna knock them out, and that'll be concrete for the, it'll be.
and then the other item was the Main Street, West Street intersection. Is there any, is that in the works this year, or was that?
I believe that's one of
We
those things.
just got,
Okay.
we just got one of the bills from MSK.
Oh.
They did. There will be a whole series of meetings, et cetera, on this. We'll get a
Oh,
bunch
okay.
of reports. You will all know when that happens. I'm sure we will have a special public meeting.
And it probably won't be this year,
Doubt it.
doubt it.
The
Okay,
other thing that we do have to talk with MSA, we've got to get the finalized paperwork on George Street. You know, I don't
Oh.
want to forget about it because it's already done, but the homeowner certainly hasn't forgotten about it, which is very decent of that person. You know,
This is the turnaround?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and have that officially in writing. You know,
I thought,
tragedy happen every day. and
I
all of a
thought
sudden
you-
That guy passes and we gotta deal with another homeowner, they might not be as,
but didn't they do the survey? Did you contact them to do that survey?
yes, and I haven't seen it.
Oh, I'll.
Because they were supposed to draw us the little plan. They were gonna draw the little sketch and then submit it to the
Okay.
lawyer, and then he was just gonna do
Okay.
the easement.
I can follow up.
yeah.
Anything else
That's all I have.
No,
Robert has a
Quick
question.
question, yes, every time I hear you speak, I realize how lucky you are to have the busy by everything. I just have one question, you know, I'm interested in traffic. I asked Mary this a couple weeks ago, I was wondering the status of our speed car.
Our city car, it's at the garage charging, we just brought it out the other day, and, we're gonna bring it to, Bank Street when we start doing the grass. You know, it's just one of those things, we're 2 people and we got a lot of things going. But it is, it was brought to the garage on Monday, it sat in the sun. And, you know, cause it's a thing, so you'll start seeing that go around.
Is Fox Shaftesbury?
Yes,
Okay, cause they just put a sign up there.
yeah, and I know there's a lot of discussion on sidewalks up there,
Okay.
a lot of it, and then, you know. I have some pretty strong opinions on it. I think they're very well needed. But there's some opinions on who's gonna maintain it.
Oh,
Definitely
guys?
have an interest in that,
okay.
and we're not interested.
Is that because one side of Fox is more than the other side is San?
No sidewalks is one thing.
Oh,
If it was on our side, we would maintain it. We're not gonna get into our system. You know, we have enough to do in our community and, you know, that's it. Things, everything can be negotiated out.
Thank you. Any other questions for Norm? Matthew? Nothing for Norm? Okay, he's,
One more thing.
yes.
And I'm hoping maybe, Kim can have the answer to that one with the dam people. But they haven't got back to us on the firehouse dam. Because they haven't decided about how much the water it holds and what payment we're gonna do. But it is low water, it is now the time to fix that. And save us a lot of money and coffer days and work, and, you know,
Good point.
so. Have you had any, I mean, cause you were with them, And they keep telling me, yeah, we're gonna get the report out, and I see nothing, so I was hoping that you would saw something that I didn't.
No, I haven't seen a report on their latest inspection.
This year, you know, was way different than last year with the water. It's down, I mean, that ledge that we're gonna bore on is
Yeah.
exposed now. You know, so it's,
Do you have a phone number for the guy or contact or?
yes, we have a contact, it's not a very good,
Oh,
but. Yeah, they don't move very fast.
what can we do anything to help you? Do you have any?
I can pass that contact, we can just keep moving.
Okay, all right. We'll,
And,
we'll chat,
I think the head of the program is Green, Mr. Green, Benjamin Green.
okay,
Was
Oh.
there any inspection or not?
okay, maybe we'll sidebar on that.
And, you know, another thing is, you know, this building, I think we've, got our painter, hopefully he's coming back. Well, we've got to get some trim work done and some stuff like that, and instead of waiting, I found a 42-foot lift on my website and ship it. We're gonna own lift.
Fantastic.
We'll get things.
To buy or rent?
No, we're gonna own,
Nice,
we're gonna own it, and then we could use it for other things,
yeah,
maybe putting up banners,
yeah.
maybe fence,
Maybe
you know.
rent it out to other people.
You know, trimming trees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that are too low, I mean, you know, sometimes it's just, you gotta get it, you know, sometimes with the firehouse, so you need stuff to go up. And, well, we're on the firehouse, and this is the last thing before I leave, because I do have another meeting after this. Is, wanna thank the fire department, a fellow named Lonnie was actually volunteered to babysit our sidewalks. I asked Ed if he had anybody that was kind of retired that could help out.
Nice.
So, I'm not gonna tell you all the arrangements and that deal, but Lonnie was there. And, as a, volunteer for the fire department to babysit our sidewalks, so we didn't have a reoccurrence of what we had up here. With a bunch of people writing in and stuff, so,
Oh,
you know, it should be, thanks for,
Well, that's wonderful. Thanks to Lonnie.
right,
Yeah,
and you know.
thank you. Okay. So we have nothing else other than thanks to the fire department, nothing from the fire department. There was no water department business. I don't know, Kim or.
Tables.
Oh, I did mean to say thank you to Norm for getting tables, so I can now, we can now, if there's more volunteers, we'll take them to dig through the 50 years worth of records upstairs and start making sense of them. That's what we needed, permanent tables up there. So anyway. Yes, forgot to say
Yes,
yes.
no water development, water department.
Yes, I know, I'm trying to keep on track
No,
here.
no development review board this
No.
month.
No okay. Planning, so Kim. Kim is gonna spend as much time as he needs to, talk to us about this, the letter. You all have this letter, a well-written letter that we as trustees need to adopt and send to the, Department of Transportation. Oh, wait, I forgot the treasure, the water department, or the treasurer's report. We'll get that later.
Double back.
We'll double back on that one. But Kim. Yours to discuss what you need to discuss, and then we're gonna go right into that on the fact that we, Kim, myself, anybody else who wants to do it, BCRC and Vermont Emergency Management are going to do a tabletop exercise on a topic that pertains to the village safety. Kim has some ideas on that, so I'll let him. Please discuss as you wish.
Well, I reviewed this letter with the planning commission, and we had a vote, and they wanted to pass it on
Yes.
to you. The letter, as you'll see, addresses to the major emergency threats to the village. The first one is the dam. And I've done more research than you'll see in that letter. I found the document that's published by Cornell University back in 1993, which talked about extreme precipitation
Hmm.
in the northeast states. They chose that name just because Cornell's name. But Vermont is covered and our area is covered, and they have multiple maps indicating the sort of like isobars of precipitation. And the dam safety program uses a particular, or the engineers that were hired on the dam safety program to assess the dam in 2022, used 6.72 inches of rainfall as the demarcation that allowed them to draw plans of where an inundation of the village would occur. And Scott gave me that report, and it maps out in yellow hash marks exactly where the water extent would be in an inundation. But it's unclear to me whether 6.72 inches is an appropriate number to use. The report lists it as a particular 24-hour accumulation that you could expect in 100 years. In the report from Cornell, they look at multiple day accumulations. So 2-day accumulations, 5-day accumulations, because rain doesn't stay within 24-hour boundaries.
Right.
And if you look at the 2-day accumulation, you get a little bit more rain than you would expect for a single 24-hour period. And a 5-day accumulation, you get more. And if you look at the 50-year occurrence of a 5-day accumulation in our area, you're getting around 8 inches of rain. And it's unclear to me, because I'm not a hydrologist, exactly where overtopping of the dam occurs. But overtopping of a dam, an earthen dam, which we have, is a recipe for failure. If the water starts coming over, the dam will fail. There is a fact about dams, earthen dams, that is hard to conceive, but there is water in the dam. They have what they call phreatic line, which maps out where water has seeped into the dam and therefore is just there. They have tow drains to drain those the far side of the dam. And we saw where they collected into a monitorable box, which you can then assess how much water is coming through the dam. But when you get 8 inches of rain, the water within the dam rises with the water in the lake. And therefore, the dam becomes supersaturated. And therefore, if there is an overtopping, the dam is all primed to fail. So the question is, in 1993, the situation was that every 50 years, you're going to get 8 inches, which to me represents a very major threat to the village and to the solidity of the dam. Since 1993, we all know that climate change has exacerbated the precipitation levels. I've called Cornell, left a message, given my email, and asked them to let me know if the report has been updated or if there's information that I can gain on these 5-day and 2-day accumulations. We may want to wait on this letter. There's nothing about this that's tied to any time period at the moment. Until we can get more facts. And I'd like to speak to the dam inspector again with those numbers and see if my understanding is it more reasonable to use these 5-day accumulations? And is the risk greater than they are stating? And pursue that a little bit further with them. And especially if I can get most recent statistics. What these accumulations might be headed to. So that's the dam. Second part of the letter addresses local bond payments, which are stored on the siding or the spur. And in that case, nothing is going to change other than that the track is in bad shape. Just by visual inspection, you saw there were many ties that could not bear weight. There were a lot of spikes that were not driven in properly, that were not engaged with the clips. And so if the track is poorly maintained and we have hazardous material in those cars, which we cannot deal with because a large portion of the spur is inaccessible to the wetlands for us. Then the question is, should we have a tabletop exercise, which the Vermont Railroad is invited to as one of the participants to see whether or not they have an answer to our concerns about these trains. So the trustees may choose the tabletop exercise on the dam, or they may choose a tabletop exercise on the on long trains, but I doubt we'll be able to do both because this is a big deal. What we're essentially asking for the state emergency management team and PCRC's emergency management planner to do is call together all the people who would respond in an emergency and map out what they would do, who they would call, do they have the necessary information, how would they deal with the hazmat group of the state. I mean, it's a lot of people. It would involve the 3 municipalities. It would involve their fire departments and this is a voluntary scenario. Their emergency responders, their rescue squad. It would involve the state or hazmat group, and I don't know where they are located physically. But they respond to hazmat incidents wherever in the state. It would involve the medical corps, which I didn't even know existed until we went to these regional emergency management group meetings. There's a medical corps of volunteers out there in the case of a disaster that can be called upon. It would involve FEMA. It would involve the full apparatus of the state emergency management. So a tabletop exercise, I don't think we can try 2 of these things. We'd be lucky to get one serious tabletop exercise where everybody's involved.
Perhaps if we looked at, and I defer to, I mean, you're the one that's done all the research, but I would look at your opinion on this, but I just wonder if modeling a dam issue, whether overtopping, failure, both, would be, I don't know, maybe a more likely thing, or a smaller elephant for us to chew.
Yes, it would be. It would be,
Yeah.
Because. I think there would be more after response, but
Yeah,
in advance of the incident. What are you gonna do?
but would we also be able to get, if that was the model, would then the state putting this together be able to get the dam inspectors and the railroad and those people at that table?
Oh,
And we would have then what it would have to be, they would have the clout to do it. And then perhaps some of these other questions get answered.
Well, and. The railroad is still involved.
Yes.
If this rain incident, this major precipitation incident occurred. At a time when there were propane cars,
Oh.
100 propane
Oh, yeah,
cars,
think about it.
they get trapped there.
Yeah.
And what are they gonna do with those?
Do we know, do the propane tanks run year round, or are they mostly in the winter?
No, they're built up in the fall,
Okay,
poised for
Okay.
winter delivery.
and then,
Winter delivery.
and then rainfall of this amount, is this likely to be when those cars are there, or is it likely to be in warmer weather when the cars wouldn't be lined up 100 deep?
That's a
I don't
very good
know,
question, I don't know the answer.
maybe,
Well, that's the problem with climate change, is that
yeah,
there are all these freak
yeah,
occurrences. And you really can't answer that question.
Well, the last two have been summer events.
yeah. And that would, I guess, but again, this would be maybe some of the information that would try to be ferreted out in such a tabletop.
But they were, Irene was, well, both were related to Atlantic storms, right?
Yeah,
So that season goes through the summer and
Yeah.
into fall.
Right, that's good. I had a couple of points.
yes,
Did you know, and I didn't live here when the dam was built. But I've heard from numerous residents who did live here then, and one of them is Rob Wilmington, that they use sheet pilings.
That's,
In the middle, you know, in other words, when it was being constructed, and then the earthen part went in later.
Yeah.
So under that discussion that you were giving us with the water infiltrating the dam, does the sheet piling make a difference?
I don't,
No, okay. All right.
What's a sheet pile?
It's, well, you know what a piling is, if you're
Yeah.
building a bridge. They developed this, the Army Corps of Engineers developed it for New Orleans after the,
After
Oh.
Katrina.
no, it was
Way
back
back.
in the Johnson administration, like since Betsy maybe, I think it was.
That's a sheet filing.
oh,
yeah, they're,
there you
they go
go,
on the internet and see the
Yeah,
diagram,
yeah.
the
Oh.
diagram.
I'm gonna have to load.
There you go.
Oh, okay, right.
So it's like a coffer dam,
Yeah.
except I think it's heavier duty. I don't know.
Yeah, well, to be driven, it needs to be.
It's driven
Yes.
into.
It's like metal roofing driven into the ground.
Oh,
Right.
so for our purpose here. Should we hold off another at least few weeks for this letter, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so,
Absolutely.
okay,
I think we
Okay.
should keep,
Right.
researching and know
Okay.
as much as we can.
so we'll do that, and then for our tabletop exercise, which we are meeting likely here on the 16th at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you'd like to come to that, please do. And then
16th of
July. If we have all of us there, it's a warned meeting. If only two of us are there, it's not.
I have summer camp, I can't be there.
Okay. Scott, you may want to if you
Yes,
can,
I would like to, 10
Okay.
AM on the
on the
16th.
16th. Like, I can
What day of the
do
week
that's
is that?
Tuesday.
this. Wait a minute, then I got the wrong date. Hold on,
19th.
hold
The
on.
9th,
The 19th.
oh, the 19th, yeah.
Friday.
Friday.
7:19, 10 AM Friday, okay, I
Yes,
will
it's
make
even
it
on my
happen.
calendar. I just wrote it wrong.
The star's going down, nothing.
Okay, so,
The other thing that, I thought was fascinating about going to that dam inspection,
uh-huh,
because we basically just followed them around and peppered them with
Yeah.
questions.
did you
So,
get peppered with answers?
No,
no, I learned quite a bit, and the
Okay.
big thing was that, this dam is not considered a flood control dam.
You did mention that.
Because there's no mechanism for holding back water. And I thought that was,
or releasing it, yes,
Release.
right.
well, we can release it by removing those boards.
Well, but that's an ineffective mechanism.
Yeah, well,
As stated in
as
this letter.
Kim pointed out in the letter.
So all the more
Quite a-
reason then to look at our tabletop exercise being related to the dam.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
figure
I
out
think that's
this
right.
stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
Now, we could also separate the letter. We could send one letter related to the dam, one letter separately related to the.
that might be,
that might be a good idea.
Obviously. A letter like this is gonna stir up the hornet's nest. So. You may wanna
So,
lose your time.
pick your
so
battle.
why don't we also discuss this on the Friday when we're talking about the tabletop exercise?
That sounds good.
Because we could talk about who might be invited to that, how they might be invited to that. Maybe some of this information is put in that letter as justification or need for such an exercise.
Yeah,
It is, Gara is the new emergency
Yes.
management person at, BCRC.
Yes,
Is she invited to this?
she is the one, she and
Oh,
Tyga Christie, who is the Southern Region Vermont Emergency Management Office. Those two are setting this up for us.
oh, great, okay, great. I was gonna suggest that.
Time Christie is from the state
The state,
and.
but she's Southern
Sarah
Region
is
in the
from
state.
VCRC.
Yeah, they're both Southern Region. if I
I'd stick to the dam.
Okay,
Tabletop.
all right,
I think that the part about the tankers, the LP tankers. And the railroad, that's gonna be a hot one, I think, not to be punny, but that the language there, Kim is very correct in his language, but it's going to draw some, raise some eyebrows.
As it should.
yeah,
it
and we
should.
also have allies in those concerns with the college and with the town of Bennington.
Yes,
Yeah,
So,
but
I
yeah, I
agree,
mean,
yes.
you point to considerable negligence.
yeah,
And, so why don't we stick to something we have some control over, the dam right now,
for now,
the water.
okay,
Yeah.
I commend Kim on this letter. I think it's excellent. I've always thought that the flood risk of the two dams is de minimis. But I think the angle is good with the deteriorating track conditions and the fact that they're running this kind of material over it. It's unacceptable, and I think that letter actually should go out. Maybe minus you know, maybe focused on the concerns of the use of those tracks for those kinds of hazardous, you know, products, but I'm sick of this, you know, and the college tried to do all kinds of stuff, and then there was a lawsuit in Burlington, and the railroad won that suit. What do we have at our disposal to?
But we have, to
Go
answer your question, I think there was, the Federal Circuit Court, which decided the Burlington case, gave us, I don't know if the justices are the same, but they gave us an in that they said, because this was over a huge salt area that they were building. And salt is not a hazardous substance. Had it been a hazardous substance, the federal court was saying that local laws could be drafted for public safety that would have the possibility of preempting the federal railway regulations. So I actually wrote a section that the planning commission has seen, but has not put into the bylaw, which simply states that our local requirements for the storage of hazardous material on tracks requires separating the cars. And if the cars are of a certain type, they need to be separated about 1,500 feet. Which they would never do. It would be crazy for them to take the time to space those out. And then if there were a different type, a safer type, then they could be 500 feet apart. But they did not, the bylaws did not forbid them from doing what they're doing. It would just make it much safer. And they would need to notify the local first responders whenever there were hazardous materials on the spur.
Problem
Store or just coming through?
Well, they don't come through, they store them.
Okay.
It's only one way, it's a dead end.
Okay, okay.
But they're stored in Bennington, so that's the other problem. It's out of our.
Well, they're stored both. Because the trains are long enough that they're in both municipalities.
We're gonna work on this.
Yes.
Well, it strikes me that if you're gonna have this tabletop on the 19th, you might send the,
No,
So we're having
the
a
19th, we're
planning.
just discussing objectives.
oh, the planning.
This is
okay.
just planning for it. And as Kim is saying, we have to suggest a topic. So I think what we're saying is we are gonna suggest that the focus of this event, I mean, this exercise is likely months away.
Yeah, okay.
Months away.
Yeah.
Because then they will gather all the participants and set up agendas, but
Right.
they are looking to us, since we were the requestors of this, to come up with a topic, and I think we're in agreement, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that our focus will be the dam safety.
Yeah. I think that is.
Okay. What else do we have to say before we move on?
Can you talk about whether we send the other part of this? I mean, if we have Kim break the letter in two and separate it, we could send them separately.
I think that was in the plans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we could send the dam safety concerns. But I don't know, do we want to get a little more information
I think
on that?
I
We
think
want, you
wanted more
for now,
range.
you want to get a little bit of that, yes.
Or no.
Okay. Okay. All right,
And I don't know about the part that deals with the railroad, because that's a totally much larger matter in terms of
But,
how it gets tackled.
but I included the
yeah,
citation of
Yeah.
their regulation in there specifically.
No, yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely hung them out to dry, it's just they don't necessarily consider themselves hung.
They have exceptions. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
that I've nailed them. Because
Yeah.
they have an exception,
Yeah,
and the exception is bizarre. If you designate track for the purpose of storing hazardous materials, then you can void all the rest of the requirements. So a piece of paper is protecting you.
right,
If they write the word, I designate this track to be for. It's,
and that exempts them
insane.
from local regulations.
it's like having the speed limit,
Right.
said, except if you want to drive.
Right,
That's fine.
well, that's
So I've written to
That's
I've
insane.
written to, the people who write the federal railway regulations,
Yeah,
and you can imagine that I received stunning silence.
well, I was interested in your citations there of actual events. Some years ago, Matthew and I were, and another trustee, I wasn't a trustee, but were involved with, the idea that they would use the 40,000 gallon tanks down that what Kinpad used to use, and use them for a tank farm for one of the gas LP suppliers around here. And right across the street from the daycare center.
Hmm.
And of course, it's 150 feet from my house.
Yeah, that would not have been a good
Yeah.
situation for you.
so hopefully that is resolved and hopefully. we
Well,
can
that
move
that was
on.
resolved.
Okay. Then let's
I figured
try to
out
move
that
on.
the engineers had made a mistake in their drawings. So
Okay,
that made-
so I think we're good with that. Okay, if we can move on briefly to old business. Just as information, Ray and I have a meeting on July 12th with Bill Christian. We will be presenting him with the contract, the consulting agreement for following up on our MERP, the energy project grant that we got. So we will be doing that to plan next steps. And the other thing is that in August, there is another Regional Emergency Management Commission meeting. Our two representatives, or appointees to that this board appointed back some months ago are, Chief Myers and Norm. But I'm wondering if we are not asking too much of folks. Because we did not have anyone able to represent the village at the last REMC. And if they're unable to do it at this one, I would certainly understand if we are asking too much of these folks. And should we look for other volunteers, I guess? I'm just asking a question. I'm not expecting an answer today, but it possibly is too much to ask two people who already are busy to also do this. I don't know. Just put the question out there. So we do have to know. Go ahead.
Would you repeat when our meeting with Bill Christian is?
July 12th at 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's just for trustees to think about. And we need to find out whether our representatives can make that August meeting. Are we asking too much of that? I want to move just briefly back to treasurers. We're a little late, so I'm only going to mention one thing. That was the West Oil budget agreement that Doug sent out to everyone. Doug feels that it is a fair offer. You all have that information by email. And Doug feels that if we so voted, this would be a good price to lock in. So you're muted, Matthew.
Lock it.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yep.
Okay, seconded by Tara. Any discussion here? Seeing shaking heads, all in favor?
Aye.
We can report that back to Doug. That is, I believe, the only thing I want to really mention. We did talk next month, big meeting, just setting our tax rates, so that may be 2 meetings, I don't know. Last thing that is on business, and then I have a very brief executive session. Literally 3 minutes long, and that is editing our village website to add an education category and information about school choice. Lori has been working with the committee that's putting that together. You have information, all the trustees have information as to what would be included in that, but public meeting, public information, it's worth just letting the public know that that is something that we are deciding.
I think looking at our website, we have the village school down under schools.
You know, we don't have enough information.
But we don't include and I will also say that Shaftesbury agreed to put the language that was included in this text
On their website.
on their website.
I'm fine with it. I think I
Okay.
just have a minimal website that, you know, is mostly municipal issues.
The suggestion is to, on our, whether you call it a landing page or whatever,
Village information.
we have village information, so it would be calendar, government documents, then we would add an education, then a resources and a contact us. And then some of the information on the school will come off of the other page.
That's fine. If we're putting in education, are we then gonna transmit all of this, that is the schools, into that education?
I don't know. I would have to ask the web person that knows better than me.
Because then we would be inclusive of all of the education that we already have listed under schools.
That might be a thing to think about.
Okay. I mean, I'm all for changing it if we wanna add the subcategory of education, but I think that then all of the education.
Then all
should be there.
education. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know,
What's-
Lori, whether,
What do you mean by all of the education?
We have a designation for all of the schools available.
we just simply list them. We don't
Right.
have further information
Yeah.
on them.
They just have
That's-
links that go to their own website.
Yeah, right.
So,
But it's more for the school district because we facilitate that choice.
yes,
And I was thinking, there's a link in the text that gives a place for a person to go to get the forms and the policies that we use. But I was thinking maybe we ought to actually import them into the text of this, but maybe that's too much to be in a. It's just, if you're there, you have to then go to the SDSU site. Things can get confused, because that site,
I'm fine with,
Confusing.
adding the wording that they're requesting, because it is, our premier education source here. I just think that if we're gonna make an education tab under the village.
We should
whatnot,
list, then we don't
the
have
other
it in a
stuff should be there.
separate.
Doesn't mean that we have to have the whole history.
actually,
Yeah.
they're all listed in the text,
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
and they have the links.
So maybe we don't even need that then.
Well, no, I take your point. I think maybe Judy and I and Lori need to sit down or talk about it some more about exactly how it would look on our
Okay.
website.
Yeah.
And we
Just
can
suggest-
always do it put it on the website, actually look at it live
Yeah.
rather than guess. And then, adjust as we go, forward.
Yeah, but I'm fine with it. Do you wanna need a motion?
I don't know, I'm asking Lori, is this something, Lori, that you think we should have a motion to amend the website and add, and enhance our education context?
Like,
No,
Content.
you don't do that for anything else. I don't think you need to do that.
All right, and that's just a discussion here, and I guess we'll just decide that we'll move forward, and Ray said he'll talk to you and Judy about it, and we'll do that. So that's all I had.
And then we have an executive.
Yes, I do have a very, very brief executive for mere moments. But Chris, let me ask you, did you need to say anything about anything?
The only thing I wanted to do was clarify August 12th.
Okay,
It's not a site.
yes, and I
It's an
did,
Ordered meeting with the judge and the attorneys
okay,
that you can attend by Skype or whatever the magic is.
if you
If
choose.
you choose. That's gonna determine
Is it-
what happens next.
Is that, okay, it's not a physical
No.
location, it's all digital.
That was my mistake when I forwarded it out.
But I just wanted to clarify.
Yes,
so we could each be in our own offices or
Yeah.
whatever.
If you wanna listen to what the judge has to say,
Yeah,
that's fine, but he's just in a position where he's going to mandate what the next step is.
I had thought that maybe Matthew, Matthew, I probably can't make it, but that's the 12th of August, right?
Right. And whatever happens with that, I think the 30-minute or less time.
Right, yeah,
The attorney will tell us what to say.
Is this a legal thing that should be talked about in executive?
we're not talking about anything specific, so Chris is just
Clarifying
clarifying
what the meeting is.
that there is a
Okay.
meeting that is not a site
yeah,
visit.
okay, well,
Okay, so
yeah,
you guys decide whether you're gonna do that.
so
All right.
it's not
So-
really a meeting that.
Okay, no, I
Bye,
will, say-
Robert.
Bye, Rob.
good night. I will say to Cat TV that we will come out of this session in mere moments, and there will be a motion to, I believe there will be a motion made, but we'll be back.
Good to see you, Chris.
Yeah,
We
great.
do need,
Take care.
I will make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
So moved.
Oh, second, yeah. I'm going to make a motion to make the payroll
To set the zoning
Set the zoning
administrator's salary.
salary as discussed.
Second.
Seconded there, all in favor?
Aye.
And now we need a motion to adjourn at 8:38.
I make a
At
motion.
8:39, there is a motion by Ray,
Second.
seconded by Scott. I doubt I need to ask if anyone has an objection.
Oh,
to
let's
that,
just
but
say it.
all in
Hey,